This is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 6 of
Pero Let Me Tell You. Popular. That like you're so popular that radio station starts playing B-sides. That's what happened with that album.
That is exactly what happened. They ran out of singles.
Yeah, because with the Janet album, they played On and On, and they played
Where Are You
70s.
Now?
Where Are You Now was on the album.
Oh, yeah.
And 70s Love Groove, which was a B-side.
That was on the radio too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're taking a trip down memory lane.
Yes,
talking about the Janet album, everybody.
Yes.
That dates us a little bit. Welcome to episode 258 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Hello, mi gente.
¿Cómo está todo el mundo?
Is everybody fully recuperated from July 4th weekend?
¿Cómo estuvo el 4 de julio? Quick, how many years did the United States turn?
Oh my God, you told me this the other day. 274?
247.
Okay. I had the numbers. It was transposed.
It's your age plus 3 plus 200.
The thing is, at 250, I didn't think we were at 250 yet. Oh, sorry. 250 seemed too low. I was like, well, I know we're a little older than 250. So that's why I was like, okay, 274. Because I remember the 4 and the 7. 247 didn't seem right.
No.
It seemed like it was too young.
Yeah.
I don't need you.
247.
Yeah.
No, it is 247.
I know, but that's why I said 274.
Oh.
Because I thought 247. I'm like, no, that can't be it.
247 years? That's almost 250 years. That's a while.
No, I know, but I'm like, we must have already passed 250, so it can't be 247. So, like,
No. Oh, okay, the mental gymnastics.
Yes, that's basically
whatever works, man.
This is how I solve word problems.
Whatever works. Do you play Wordle?
I do not.
I don't even know what it is. I don't care what it is. Let's move on.
That may be the quickest we've ever transitioned off a topic
when people
ever.
would post their stuff on Wordle, I'm like, I don't care to learn how to play this.
That's the thing I don't understand. But it's part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of the thing.
The only games I've ever played on my phone. Tetris, of course,
Okay.
which I still have. It's the only game I have on my phone. And of course, I fell into the Angry Birds.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but who didn't?
This is true.
And I kind of like Doodle Jump.
I don't know Doodle Jump.
Doodle Jump was a little guy that he would jump up and down and up and up.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, if you see it, you'll know.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little thing with a long nose.
Oh, no.
Had like an anteater nose.
No, I play the Disney version of Candy Crush. And then this DC fighting game.
I think Candy Crush is such a waste of time.
No, it's actually, I love puzzle games.
Whatever.
It's good because it keeps you, you got to keep active.
I guess.
But that's how your senses are sharp.
That's how I am. Okay, about Tetris. Okay, let me ask you something. When you play what is your favorite piece in Tetris? I have a favorite piece.
It's the one that is the little like, it's like the 3 pieces and then the one in the middle.
That's my favorite too.
Yeah.
That is so versatile.
It so is.
You could do so many
We don't
things
talk
with
enough about how versatile that piece is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Like that one, I mean, you could do anything with it. How I like to play Tetris, I don't know if everybody likes to play like that. I like to build up the wall waiting for the stick.
Yes, that is a great strategy.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're trying to just fit all these weird ass things together. Yeah.
I know everybody
But
has
at the
a
last
different
minute,
way.
but I get it.
But I like to build up like the block and then have a piece in the side, usually in the side, where you could just put in like the long stick.
When it comes down, just make that shit vertical and
and boom. And boom.
It's very satisfying to see all those rows clear at once.
Disappear. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Tetris is awesome.
It is awesome. It's one of the only good things Russia's given us.
Tetris is Russian?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm going to refute that because I love Russian culture. I mean, I would say the ballet.
Okay, fine. Vodka.
The arts.
Those little mamushka dolls.
Dr. Zhivago.
Fur hats.
I mean, it also gave us communism, but
And Putin.
Yeah. But
Tetris balances out.
Yeah, Tetris
balances out.
out.
That's the whole purpose of our favorite piece. Is
balance.
balance.
That Russian, because I know seriously, I do love Russian culture, not Soviet, Russian culture. I always have.
Like the Bolsheviks?
Yeah, I love the history.
Okay.
I love, like one of the things that I most wanted to see in the world is the Amber Room in the Summer Palace in St. Petersburg, which now it's a replica.
Oh, okay.
Because the original Amber Room was stolen by allegedly it was stolen by the Nazis, but nobody knows really where
and
it
they're
is.
not talking.
Anyway, and Russian is actually the language I most would love to learn.
Really?
Yeah, I would love to, but it's one of the most difficult
Such a
languages to
difficult
learn.
language.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
even like. I mean,
Where do you start?
Online, right? The thing is that aside from them having a different alphabet, the way they conjugate verbs is completely different.
Oh, yeah.
You
can't build on what you know.
All the structure phonetically is different. So I'm like,
Never mind.
we all have dreams.
Check out one of those online, language thingies and see if maybe you can pick up a few words here. and there.
I've done stuff on YouTube, and I'm like, no, I'm like,
No. But you got to do like a Duolingo or something.
no. What I need to brush on is I'm up on my French.
Oh, okay.
Because next year at my cousin's wedding,
That's right.
His husband's family
French,
is
yeah.
French, and I feel like French
yeah.
from France.
Not like Celine Dion.
No, like French.
Right.
And I feel that as the only person on his side of the family that sort of speaks French, I'm gonna sort of be like the family. Like,
You're the ambassador.
Je suis le cousin de Roger.
You thought that you had it bad when you would travel, having to be the English
Yeah,
translator.
Yeah, so I need to brush up on it.
I would do it.
Because I do have to tell you that that's a really cool thing about like learning a language is that you really think you forgot, but then when you're in that environment, it hits you like a ton of bricks.
It's like falling off a bike.
I remember, I was lucky enough to go to France several times, but then I went a few years back, and I hadn't taken French lessons since high school and college, and I wasn't really speaking to anybody in French. And I was like, do it. I'm going to go and whatever. And it was like the moment I got there, I was like, oh, bonjour, ça va, je suis d'Arlien.
You just
Oui.
had to touch a croissant and
One
you knew.
of the things I would say the most is like, je voudrais le glacer avec ma boisson, s'il vous plaît.
I would like a glass of water with ice.
Oui. Well, a glass of ice.
A glass of ice. Okay.
You know that one of the hardest words that like French people laugh at Americans or whomever is speaking French as a foreign language is water.
How do you say water?
Well, I say l'eau.
Le?
It's L apostrophe EAU.
Okay, like perfumes. Le.
Right.
Okay.
But it's one of these words like I could say l'eau, but the way that they say it, they know.
They do a thing.
It's one of these things that it's like a very simple word, but when it's not your native tongue, you're never going to pronounce it.
There's some type of imperceptible nuance that
As
we
well.
don't hear.
Oui. So la prochaine année, je parlais avec les familles de mon cousin. How do you say? Je me souviens. La prochaine année, je voudrais parler avec les familles de Roger. Et maintenant, j'étudie le français parce que je ne me pas obligé some words. Well,
you're learning. You're refreshing. You're refreshing.
I have to tell you though, here on our show we talk so much about Spanglish and how we could code switch and when we spoke to the linguist from
Phil.
FIU,
Yeah, Philip.
We spoke to him a lot about the context in terms of English and Spanish. When I was really fluent in French, and you remember when I was like really really fluent in French,
Like senior year, I think was like your peak.
that my peak of how fluent fluidity in French, I wouldn't translate anymore. I would already think in French, right? Because you truly master a language when you don't translate anymore.
That's what they say. Yeah.
You would translate at the speed of sound, but you would still translate,
Right, but you're not thinking in English and thinking what's the word for this.
right? I started mixing all three languages together.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, I want una Coca-Cola avec.
It's like when I listen to a BTS song.
Avec un K.
Avec un K.
And you know what's so interesting? That I would use it a lot with the word avec, which is with. And it's interesting because that's the same way you use pero. It's the same way. And I started doing that in French. So imagínate el arroz con mango.
Arroz con croissant. That's a lot of carbs.
Oui, le beurre.
Très carbs.
And it's true. Le French love le beurre, the butter.
Oh, the butter. Yeah, that's true.
That's why everything is so delicious. Anyway, so we can't talk about the stuff going on this week without talking about the last 48,
Yeah, seriously.
48 hours, 72 hours
By the time you're hearing this, 72.
social media.
Yes.
So everybody is on Threads.
Todo mundo está cosiendo.
Like yesterday morning, I woke up
kinda saw
and I saw a ribbon. People posting ribbons.
I was like, oh, what's the cause?
Oh, right. And then later in the day, I spent like 4 hours on Threads.
Yes, you and we have a thread now, ladies and
Pero
gentlemen.
let me tell you, is on Threads
Is on
now.
Threads. You actually you were very because I follow you because you started yours and we haven't figured out if we can.
Because what happened was that a very good friend of mine on Instagram, I'm going to give him a shout out, Felix. He had posted something about Threads, and I was like, I keep seeing this,
Right.
And then I check, and I'm like, hey, what is this about? And he's like, oh, it's the new Twitter, but it's by Instagram. And he sends me the link because what had happened was that I have an Android. Earlier in the day, it wasn't ready for Android yet.
Oh,
iPhone
okay.
came out first.
That's why Eddie
Yes,
had said that. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
It hadn't come out first.
green bubble people.
Yeah. But then by the time Felix told me, I could download it.
Right.
I mean, obviously that happened throughout the day, and I downloaded it immediately. So when I download it, I'm like user 6 million something.
Jiminy Christmas.
Right, there's over 10 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Actually, no, there's over 30
There's
million.
more than that probably by the time we're done recording.
Yeah, there's gonna be like 100 million. I'm
Yeah.
like 6 million something. So I'm like,
You're one of the first.
yes, I'm in like that group,
You're
right?
that single million digit.
Yes, a single exactly.
Right.
So then when I download it and I created the account for me personally,
Right.
I immediately thought like I need to do one for Pero let me tell you immediately. But they don't have the capability
yet,
of
yeah.
of switching accounts yet on the app. So that's why I called you. I'm like, you need to sign one up right
Yep.
now
Yep.
for Pero let me tell you, like right now.
I gotta say, it's fun. It's a little fun. It reminds me of, again, no surprise, early days of Twitter. In that, it's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun. I will say it'll be interesting to watch it roll out. Look, there've been attempts in the past. What is it, Google Plus, and then what was it that we were all supposed to be like really into during the pandemic? Clubhouse.
Yeah,
which,
on Apple,
on whatever the hell that was. There's been all these attempts, right, to like do new things in social media platforms, and they haven't all stuck. So people were saying like, I give this like 2 months. This isn't going to do anything for Twitter, against Twitter. I don't know. I genuinely believe that. Okay, I'm gonna put on my marketing hat. Just from an advertising, a marketing standpoint, Facebook Meta, which is this is Threads is owned by Meta, has a lot more things in place to be ad friendly. Now they don't have advertising yet, but they are more monitored. Whereas Twitter now is the wild, wild west, and a lot of advertisers pulled their dollars.
Right.
So if we're looking at it from just a commercial standpoint, right, this could become much more viable because they will have money put into it. That is actually, no secret, taken out of Twitter.
Right.
The money has been taken out of Twitter, and it will be put into Threads once they open those gates and say, all right,
right.
the store's open for advertising. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and you know what though? Maybe it'll fall flat on its face, but I think that the difference between this and other failed attempts previously, most notably Google Plus, because if you recall, Google Plus was going to be the Facebook killer. This was back in like 2010 and all that. For those of you who don't remember, Google Plus was a social media app that Google obviously released in about 2010.
Give or take.
That it was supposed to be the Facebook killer because at that time, Facebook was what reigned supreme, way over Instagram. And that didn't work out well. And I remember I had it for like a hot minute and it didn't work out well. And the problem is that, or the difference I see is that although Google is a behemoth, Google didn't really have any social media.
Right. They didn't know how to play the game.
Right. They weren't a social media company,
They had no footprint.
especially back then. Whereas Facebook obviously knew what they were doing. And so I think obviously that now Meta has all these like huge successful platforms because here's the thing about Facebook. I never really was on Facebook, but Facebook hasn't been a part of my life in years. But a lot of people still use Facebook. A lot. Maybe it's not our demographic,
right?
But they do. And companies still use Facebook.
We pour lots of money into Facebook.
Yeah, because I know that like with my political work, in terms of digital strategy, a lot of it is still on Facebook.
You have to.
And I'm like, but why? But then when I start looking at the analytics in Facebook, I'm like, okay, there's still an audience
You
here.
can't not be there.
Right, there's still an audience here. So I think that maybe that's the difference, that this has these huge successful platforms behind it.
Also, it comes compared to Google Plus. It also comes tailor made with, a user base. Which I mean, literally for Threads,
look,
you use your Instagram login.
I will say this though, and seriously, one of my biggest problems with Twitter, aside from it being the cesspool of humanity, as I say, that everybody's nasty, I get really annoyed at the porn. And let me just be real. I look, there's a market for porn. I'm not shaming porn. I'm not shaming people that watch porn. Nothing like that. Nothing. But I feel that Twitter has become a source for it's become a platform for people to advertise their OnlyFans.
Yeah, a big part of that is because once Tumblr stopped allowing nudity and sexual imagery,
it went to Twitter.
It all went to Twitter.
And you know what? And again, that's fine. I'm not shaming people that do that, but there is a place for everything and everything in its place, right? If you want to watch porn and that's the route you want to go into, you knock yourself out. There's apps and all that for that. But for me, it's very distracting, because I've said it a million times on the show. I joined Twitter maybe 2 years ago, and I joined Twitter simply because of my work in politics. For that reason only. So it's very weird for me to be tweeting and talking about
the mayor says this
about
and then
policy and about the Supreme Court, and I scroll and I see somebody's asshole.
Talk about a black hole sun.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you know what? I don't want to be the prude person in the room, but I think that it causes that platform right now is too many different things.
I also think specifically, I mean, that alone tells me though that from a back end perspective, it tells me that either the people who are running it, which could be the case, and this we could dovetail into another element of this conversation, don't know what they're doing in terms of targeting. Because if all I ever watch is how to make wicker baskets, right? I shouldn't be getting served porn. Right? Just by virtue of my algorithm, it should not serve it to me.
But it does.
So that to me says that on the back end, and I don't know because I'm not a big Twitter user, so I don't know if this has been something that's always happened or if it's something that has become more prevalent with Elon Musk taking over and firing half of the company. That just tells me that they're not doing their job.
Well, what's
interesting
interesting in the algorithm, and I could speak on my behalf, is that the people that I follow on Twitter, it's all political.
That's what I'm saying.
My usage on Twitter is all political.
Right.
I don't even like things that are not political because I use it solely for that purpose. And I mean, obviously, I made the example of porn. Not like my whole feed is porn, but it's a lot of things. There's a lot of things on my feed that whatever demented algorithm has. There's even things on my feed that are things that maybe I'm interested in, but it's like, how the hell did this get on my feed? Because there's nothing on my Twitter presence that would lend itself to get this on my feed.
Right, like you're not going to the Home Depot's Twitter feed. Why is it serving you home DIY?
Exactly. So that's something that for me especially, I always found odd because my Twitter universe is very limited and very small. So why am I getting bombarded? Like, for example, I get a lot of things on Twitter for travel. There's nothing in Twitter, nothing that I do that has any. I mean, I love travel.
Yeah, but that's your Instagram. That's you on Instagram.
Right. And there's two platforms that are not related.
So it's not even going to go Meta. It's all Meta. Like now, if something shows up on Thread,
I could understand.
Right.
But Twitter and Instagram don't use the same data. Right. So why am I getting these things? Yeah, some of them are of interest to me, but I shouldn't be getting this. So that's why I think that with Twitter, aside from it being the cesspool of humanity, where the worst people in the human race are at, it's too many things to too many people.
Right.
And I just think there's an app for that.
There's an app for that to steal from a old slogan.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my God, somebody else I have 30% off my OnlyFans, and it's like whoop-de-doo.
Well, that's a bargain, I mean, it is that's a holiday summer savings.
Again, no shame, but it's like, again, when I'm writing about policy,
I'm not trying to see somebody's areolas.
Yeah. This is not where I'm at.
That's not the kind of climate change we're talking about.
No.
They're lovely,
Yeah.
but no, I don't need to.
But I feel that right now, Threads, it's really fun because like right now, it's kind of like a kumbaya. It's
the honeymoon period.
Like I follow you, you follow me.
Oh, yay, we're friends. Oh my God, let's talk to each other.
I gained like 300 followers overnight. Like,
we already have like 500.
yeah.
It hasn't even been 24 hours.
Yeah, I was like, where the hell did this come from?
Now, granted, a lot of it has to do with the fact that because it's all meta, you bring over your followers from Instagram. So that does help. But that's kind of what I was saying. That's a great thing insofar as you start off on the right foot. You're not really starting from scratch. But
everybody's like very friendly now,
right?
And very funny,
right?
And the memes are nonstop.
Oh, it's fun.
It's fun. It's what social media should be. Yeah,
that's what it should be. It's fun.
So we're kind of having right now the fun we used to have in social media. MySpace circa.
Bring back the top 8.
Did you see what one of my posts today was? On Threads, I got the classic picture of Tom from MySpace, and I put. Somewhere this guy is saying, "Oh, here they go again." Another social media platform.
Never ends.
Tom is the OG. Tom and his whiteboard.
He is.
Who would have ever known that picture would have been so freaking iconic?
And you know what? You want to talk about the word iconic? That's iconic.
Tom and
that is iconic.
And his blackboard.
And his whiteboard.
His whiteboard, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But alas, we can't have nice things without somebody trying to be a party pooper.
Oh.
So did you see? Again, it's literally been like 48 hours at the time of recording this. Elon Musk is suing them.
Oh yeah. I tweeted about that. Oh, I mean,
is suing them, and it's funny to me because it's one of those things where
they're threatening to sue. I think they sent a cease and desist.
Which, here's the thing. There is no such thing as a new idea. I mean, everything, there's a saying that I live by actually, and I've heard it. I heard it in one of my marketing meetings many moons ago, and I live. Steal with pride. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as a new idea. The chiste is to take the idea and improve upon it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
tweak it.
That wasn't very hard.
It wasn't hard to do in this case. But take it, tweak it, build upon it. So I would be interested to see. I think that the basis of it is that they hired former Twitter employees. Mm-hmm. But I would be also curious to know if these people even had non-competes. Because he got in there and cleaned house. So I don't know the parameters, and he's also, by the way, and I'm just gonna throw this out there, the cesspool that is Elon Musk, because shit rolls downhill. That's why Twitter's like it is. After forcing these people to have to go to arbitration to settle all their disputes that they're currently having, that they were not given their severance, and all that.
These people are scorched earth.
Not just that, he's refusing to sign the papers for arbitration on his end. So you've made this impossible for these people, and you thought they were going to play nice. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's just let's put all cards on the table, right? Like, a me favor, no.
I mean, I read about that too. I actually threaded about it. Is it thread?
I don't know what the new lexicon is.
I threaded.
Is it I threaded? I sewed. I upholstered. I
did that other thing that is not tweeting.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah.
I mean, it's going to become a verb eventually.
Are we threading?
Estamos cosiendo.
Estamos cosiendo. It's like, listen, I will say this. Threads, feel free to take the idea. Just get a Royal Dansk.
Wouldn't it be incredible? Wouldn't it be amazing? Listeners.
Make that the logo.
Meta.
Make that
if
the
that
logo.
Is the icon for your desktop on your phone, is the Royal Dansk. I mean, Meta, you're a multi-trillion-dollar company.
You can pay Royal Dansk.
You could play Royal Dansk, the royalty.
Yeah.
Get on your desktop, your little icon is a Royal Dansk thing because it's threads.
Brilliant.
That's kind of awesome.
Do it, Zuckerberg. Do it.
Zuck, get on it.
Get on it.
Get on it.
You're sleeping. You're sleeping on a great idea. Do it. Oh my God. Yeah, that would be fucking phenomenal. That would be.
Oh man, that'd be. No, it's not. The icon is not to Royal Dansk because why would it be? It's for threads.
It's for threads.
Why would there be a cookie in there?
Because it's never a cookie.
It's never a cookie.
It doesn't matter.
You silly cow.
The key is to have it never be a cookie.
It's never a cookie.
Ever. It could be a hamburger in there.
It's always disappointment.
And you know the thing else.
Okay, and you know what the thing about the Royal... Let's talk about Royal Dansk.
As we do.
100 times. And you know the thing about the Royal Dansk? And the same thing with like the country crock
Yeah.
things.
The butter.
It's not like, okay, they ran out of Royal Dansk cookies, but instead they have chocolate chip cookies. Or they have, cupcakes.
They didn't repurpose for similar.
No, it's threading. Or in the country crock, it's not like, they don't have butter, but they have buttercream. Or they have like, chocolate mousse. No, it's arroz con frijoles. Frijoles negro.
Potaje.
Potaje. And it's like...
potaje. It's always potaje.
Ajiaco. It's like,
I mean, I'm sorry to anybody who likes ajiaco, but just the name.
Oh, man. You know what I hate? You know what I think is disgusting? Es fricassé de pollo. Mira, fricassé de pollo... For Cuban fricassé de pollo, to me, is one of the grossest things there are. But one of the most delicious things I had was French, en français.
Okay.
The poulet fricassé.
Okay.
Oh, my God. The fricassé de pollo in the French version, it's one of the best things I've ever had.
I only like how my mom does the fricassé because she leaves it in there a little too long, and then it gets a little, like, almost toasty. So it's good.
Yeah, your mom, if she's doing the Cuban style, they mete puré de tomate, and it's like, no way.
I haven't had it in a while, actually.
No, but the French one.
Mi mamá ya está que no ni cocina.
Have you ever been to Le Bouchon du Grove?
No.
The French restaurant in the Grove here in Miami? If you ever go with... Well, you'll be fine because you're always half naked. I remember the first time I went there.
As evidenced right now
I remember
today.
the first time I went there, I went in a tie and everything. I went in a tie
Estaba sudando
because
la
this
gota.
was like around 2009, 2010 when I had like my David Cook face that I would wear like the sweater vest with the undue tie and like the rolled up shirts. And I went there.
And the Converse.
And the Converse, yeah. It was good.
It was a good look. It was a good look. It worked. You worked it.
And I went there at the one here in Miami, and the Bouchon du Grove is a very small restaurant. And everybody that goes there orders the chicken fricassé. And they bring it to you in a crusette.
Okay.
Which is like a Dutch oven.
Right.
Like literally smoldering out
like,
of the oven.
Acabada sacar.
So there's like 30 tables with this really hot thing in there, like in the middle.
Right.
All at once. So
and you're in Miami.
And it's a small restaurant. And it's like so the next time I went to Le Bouchon du Grove, I went in a t-shirt. I'm like, we're good. You
did the nice dress once, and that's it. You're good. You got the pictures.
So anyway, threads. Are we threading? Are you a threader?
I'm going to thread the needle.
Right now in threads, it feels like the first day of school.
Yeah.
Like, when you don't know what's going to happen, but you're kind of like, oh, you're here.
I'm excited about my classes, but I don't know who's going to be in them.
You're here.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for that one person to come in and be like, here we go again. Here we go again. See, today I came across someone who on my Twitter I follow, and they're like a huge activist. And I recognize that's their shtick. And I'm like,
they're like one of those like extreme, like everything is an issue.
Yes. And I'm like, I'm not even going to touch this page because it's going to go into my algorithm, and I'm having too much of a kumbaya moment right now. Like, I'm having fun with people's memes, and everybody's like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, like is it a thread? Is it a post? Is it whatever?
I'm having a lot of fun with that, so I'm not getting near your activism.
Yes, you're having almost as much fun as Vanessa did in Baltimore.
Oh, we're having the big fun. The big
fun on threads.
So, threads will... We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on season 6, so we're not stopping this train anytime soon. So we'll be around to.
We'll give you a how long do you think it could maintain if something was to derail it? How long do you think it will take to kind of just go?
Oh, I think it's gonna be quick.
Like if people hate it, they're gonna.
I don't think it's a matter of people hating it. I think it's a matter of it turning into Twitter. I think that's the problem. So that's why I think that Meta has an opportunity here to make sure that it doesn't turn into Twitter. So you're not going to allow this. You're not going to allow that. You're not going to allow all these things that there's a place for that.
Right.
Not here, because it goes back to what we said a minute ago. Twitter right now, it wants to be 20 things at once.
Right.
And it's sucking in all of them.
Well, I know that they do still have the parameters of like no nudity and all that stuff.
Right.
So,
I think they need to stick to that.
Yeah.
They need to. You want nudity? Listen, the internet was invented for porn.
Yes. Thank you, Avenue Q.
Avenue Q says there are plenty of places where you could get porn.
Sobra.
Yes, it's just that, or make it, I don't know, threads. I don't know, sexy threads. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Threads After Dark.
Yes. What was that show? Silk Stockings?
Ooh. I like it. Silk Threads.
Silk Threads.
Silk Threads. There we go.
Oh, yeah, we're on a roll.
We are on a roll.
Oh, yeah.
Damn it, we got it. Zuck, hit us up. We'll help you out. We got you.
Anyway, moving right along.
Yes, shifting gears from Threads.
Shifting gears. Something that I read this week that I kind of wanted to touch upon briefly.
Okay.
I had, we had talked about here, I forget if it was this season or last season, about how tipping has gone overboard in the U.S. And I was reading this article about DoorDash. Did you hear about DoorDash and the pizza delivery?
No.
Okay, so there was this...
Sounds like a horrible fairy
tale. So
tale.
there was this person who ordered a $20 pizza. Okay? And the person delivered, the guy delivered the $20 pizza, and the person in the house gave them $5. That's a 25% tip.
Yeah.
Right? $5.
I don't do math and I know that. Yeah.
25% tip. The guy got really mad. The dasher got really mad and started screaming at them and profanities and everything at the man. So this person called DoorDash and was like, listen, I was harassed and I was told all these things over this person tipping me, the amount that I tipped, and I tipped them $5. That's 25%. And ultimately the person got fired.
Good.
Right. And then now there's this whole internet campaign that it's like, why did the person get fired? Did they get paid so little anyway? And blah, 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 blah.
But you're a customer service thing. You can't treat the customers like shit if they're...
But that goes back to what we were tipping,
101.
and I think that you and I, prior to a couple of years ago, before we had Ping Pong Pollo, we didn't have a stake in this game because we have never worked in the service industry.
Correct.
Our first jobs, well, you worked in Winn-Dixie, but it wasn't like our first jobs weren't even like McDonald's or anything like that in the food related industry, that we depended on a tip. And again, I always sort of use myself as a gauge because I always tip 20%. Even if the service isn't great, I tip 20% because I know how important this is for people. But as we had in that discussion some time ago on the show, okay, but where does it start and where does it end now?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you remember, my whole thing was that I went to pick up a sushi order that was like $250, and I left a $10 tip.
Right. But you did the legwork.
Right. I went to pick up the sushi order, and you know what? It was one platter. Sushi's more expensive, right? So it was literally a platter of sushi that I went to pick up.
Right.
And I left a $10 tip, and then I heard them sort of talking shit about that, and I was sort of like, okay, if I'm wrong, I want to take accountability for it, and if I need to tip this person more, maybe I should have tipped them more. But it was something that I was analyzing. I'm like, but wait, like,
where's the slippery slope? Where does it end?
Where does it start and where does it end?
Yeah.
Because am I supposed to tip this person 20% of a $250 order? That's $50. That's a $50 tip. Right? For something that I went to pick up. They didn't deliver it to me. I went to the store to pick it up. So I thought about this story because it's like, okay, this person left a 25% tip.
Right.
So why...
What was he supposed to give?
Right.
15?
Right. The pizza was 20.
Cojones.
So, again, I think that most people want to give what the person rightfully deserves. And I know that a lot of these people...
Also, based on what you can give.
Right, but look... I think that there is an argument to be had about what a living wage is.
I agree, but sorry, I just wanted to say one thing because you say 20% is what you usually give, and I do. I actually read an article the other day that says 20% now is considered the norm, and that's the bare minimum. So the days of 15% are gone. So because you and I are like, well, we tip 20%, but we're from that, we're from a certain time where 20% was above the average.
Right.
And now it's considered just baseline.
Right, but that's why I tell you that there's certainly a conversation to be had about living wages. You know, and I for one think that, you know, we need to do better at paying people. Absolutely, especially people in the service industry. They don't get paid enough. There's a conversation to be had about that. That's very important. But my biggest thing is, are we supposed to pick up the
difference?
The difference of it? Are we supposed to be the ones who carry that, not the corporation and not the employer?
Right.
Right, so because you're being a cheap ass and you're not paying your employee what you should, I'm expected to
step
come
it
up with that shortfall.
Yeah,
right, because I'm more than willing to pay for good service. Number one, because you gave me good service, and number two is because it's a service job. It sucks.
It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard work.
Oh yeah,
you know, and
you and I do it like once a week for like 6 hours,
and it's hard. It's really hard. You know, these people are on their feet all day, and they have to take shit from people. It's hard. So I'm more than happy to give you your fair share. But if you're not being paid enough, which that is a problem, it's not also my fault either. So
right, yeah, I'm not management.
Right. So
yeah,
I think that's a problem.
It's funny because so two things I wanted to bring up is so one I read this past week actually, the creators of South Park apparently own a restaurant in California called Casa Bonita, and
the creators of South Park own a restaurant called Casa Bonita.
It's a restaurant that they bought. It's been around forever.
That would have not been
it's
on
been
brand.
It's been around forever. They bought it, but they recently did away with tipping, and they're paying everybody $30 an hour.
Okay.
Minimum. So, you know, and of course, like everything, there's like the, you know, good, you're paying them, you know, a living wage. And there's like people who's like, no, but they should still be able to get tipped and all that. So again, it's like one.
Dude, if you're paying $30 an hour.
I mean, if I want to leave a tip, I should be able to leave a tip, right? Whatever. You can always leave cash, but who carries cash anymore? But the second one is to your point about like, where does it end? So this past weekend, we went to St. Petersburg Beach for 4th of July weekend. And in the hotel, there was this little gift shop. You know, it was like a little gift shop convenience store thing or what have you. And so Jose and I were there, and Jose's niece stayed like one night with us. She was nearby. So her and I went downstairs to go to the beach, and she was like, "Oh, let's get some water at the gift shop."
The gift shop, yeah.
Okay, great. We get the water, blah, blah, blah. When she rang it up before she approved, it asked if we wanted to tip the lady behind the counter. And his niece was like, "For what?" I picked up the bottle. I walked it over here. I placed it on the counter. Why would I tip this person? I'm not taking away from her job, but what did she do outside the norm of her responsibility to merit me being like, oh, here's $7 or whatever, you know, it is. So it's like, yeah, it has gotten out of hand. It just in terms of like, now we're just being expected or asked to tip where no service was really involved.
Yeah.
Like, no, you know, like, again, to your point, we're just expected to make up the difference.
Right. So where does it start and where does it end?
Yeah.
Because I think most people are in our boat. Most people want to tip service.
Yeah.
And they want to help the person out. But we shouldn't carry the burden or the weight of the employer not paying you enough.
Right. Yeah. It's
that's a good example. Like,
she didn't do anything.
All you literally did was ding to ring up the bottle.
Tip us. We had to bring it to the counter.
Yeah.
And then I had to carry it out to the beach.
Right. Yeah, no, that's
I mean, that would be like if I was tipping my cashiers at Winn-Dixie.
That's a problem. No, everything. Yeah, that's really, really que pesade.
But with that said, please be sure to tip your servers at Bim Bam Pollo.
Yes. So, on more things that happened this week or whatever.
Recently.
So, did you hear who is the latest celebrity that got hit while performing?
No.
Drake.
He did?
Yeah.
With what?
I don't know with what. I think I'm not sure with what, but he was hit on the face with something.
Okay, what is?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
My favorite thing about, I mean, I'm using the word favorite obviously sarcastically, is that it's like one of these girls got hit with a cell phone.
Bibi Rexha. Did you see her face after?
Yes, but you know what I thought of? I was like, but now you have to buy a new phone.
Yeah.
Like, why did you throw a phone?
Yeah.
I'm not saying to throw things at her.
Did you hear what they did to Pink?
Oh, the ashes, the mother's ashes. Yes, got thrown on the.
Now, let me tell you something. If you throw something to Pink, I think if they threw it at her when she was flying, So, she was a little busy at that moment.
But after.
Because Pink looks like the type that will fuck you up.
After, Pink will make you eat that cell phone.
Yeah. Like,
Just like a pill.
yeah, exactly. I mean, what the hell?
What is up with people?
Oh yeah, if somebody throws a phone at Beyonce, they're done. Because the Beehive,
It's true. There's nowhere they can hide.
no, the Beehive will track you down.
There's nowhere they can hide.
You are not making it out of that stadium alive.
Just call Richard Branson and see about one of those rockets. Just get off
No,
planet.
there's no time.
Get
That's
off planet.
instantaneous.
No, but Branson's probably friends with her too, so you're screwed.
No, but that's
You're
instantaneous. That phone, the moment that phone is airborne, you're dead. Before it reaches Beyonce, you're dead. Like the Beehive stung. The Beehive. There's no time. There's no due process.
Due process. This is a stoning.
But what the hell?
¿Qué le pasa a la gente?
No, and then you know what?
¿Qué le pasa a la gente?
You know my problem with
Y
that
con lo
is
caro que está
that
el
aside
concierto.
from the fact that you are assaulting someone, right? Is the fact that now this makes up a bigger argument for having these freaking barricades at concerts and having a ton of security guards. Because let me tell you something. I've been to a few concerts where I've been front row or at the very front. To have all those freaking security guards there dressed in yellow just looking at you, it kills mood killer. Yeah, it kills the vibe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We get it, but it kills the vibe.
It kills the vibe. Yeah. So it's like now that's going to be even hard. Like, why do people have to ruin it for? These are the people who are going to go on Twitter, on Threads, and going to ruin it.
It's true. You know what? Beehive, attack them.
Yeah.
Attack
Beehive,
them.
go.
We're activating you.
Beehive powers activated.
The secret word is cuff it. That's it. They're all activated right now.
Till you see stuff. Until you see stuff.
Oh, people suck.
No, well, Beyonce's going to start her American leg of her tour very soon.
I mean, that hasn't started out here yet.
So people better, you better be on your best behavior because...
I think that you know what? La gente sabe con quién se tiran.
Listen, you know who I would put up there too? Are the Swifters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Swifters will be lethal as well.
Yeah. Never underestimate the wrath of an angry white woman.
Yeah. With sparkling.
Yes, with sparkles.
There's a lot of Karens in that stadium.
Yes, I mean, everybody's got that haircut.
Yeah.
If not in the stadium, in the parking lot waiting for their daughters. They're all there.
Oh, man, I'm so upset that I'm not going to go see Beyonce. But, I don't want to take out a second mortgage.
I was going to say, did you want to just sell your house to go? Or?
No, it's just going to be so much trouble to sell the house.
Like, do you maybe just want to stop paying insurance for a couple months?
Because you know what? The thing about, I've always said it, the thing about going to somebody's concert, I feel like going to a concert, especially if somebody you like, it's a moment in time. It's
right.
It's like years down the line, it's like I saw this person on that tour.
Yeah, especially if it's like an iconic tour.
If it's an iconic tour, like I was there, I saw that. Like I don't know why. To me, I get off on the fact that there's several concert recordings of concerts that I've been to that it's like, oh, you see that footage?
I'm in that crowd somewhere.
I was in that crowd. I was there. So I don't know. That's the way I've always seen it.
That's fair.
It's a lot of these concert tours are like a moment in time in pop culture history, and it's like to know that you were part of it. I mean,
yeah, no, it's fair. It's fair.
That's why I want to go to the opening ceremonies of an Olympics.
Well, okay, but that's the opening ceremonies of an Olympics.
Yes, it's funny because I mean
that's iconic all on its
I don't know
own.
if you were here when we were talking to one of our friends' kids that she's like really into archery now, and we were kind of like, oh my god, maybe one day you make it to the Olympics. And I told her, listen, I don't care about your parents. If you go to the Olympics, you're giving the opening ceremony ticket to me because anybody that knows me knows that
They can go to everything else.
They could go to everything else.
Right.
But I'm going to the opening ceremony.
But that you want.
Because I'm Mr. Olympic historian. So,
yes. Oh, and then you can actually buy your own memorabilia.
I know. I don't have
our friend bring it back.
Our friend bring it back because we have a friend that works for media, and every time there's an Olympics, he's there. So he always brings me a cartload, and he, you know what? He understands the assignment.
He really does.
To quote the kids,
he really
because
does.
he brings me the mascots, he brings me programs, he brings me like official merchandise with a logo. Like he knows his shit.
And then he sometimes, if possible, like sneaks in a couple of like media exclusive items that you can only get. Yeah.
He understands.
Yeah, he's not playing around. So no, he doesn't fuck around. So I wanted to bring something up that I wanted to bring it up more so because I wanted to hear your legal take.
Ay, Dios mío.
on things. Well, because you're much more learned than I am in things of the Supreme Court. So
Oui. C'est la vérité.
so as we know, recently the Supreme Court basically ruled that if your religion says it's cool, you can discriminate against people at your place of business. I mean, in a nutshell.
So a little bit more complex.
But in a nutshell, right? Like that was the quote unquote. That's the clickbait version of the decision. So, it was this lady. She's a web designer. She basically said that because of her religion, she did not or could not, according to her religion, design web designs for gay weddings, etc. And so this went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court. And this is why I'm bringing it up to you, because you probably read the decision already.
I did.
I knew it. This is why we do this here. My biggest question, and obviously, break down the decision for us, but my biggest question from stuff that I've read, and again, what you read and the truth are two different things. It seems as if, though, this was a weird case insofar as she brought forth a case using a hypothetical.
Yes.
I did not know you could do that.
Well, it's not that you could do that. It's that
because there was no one.
If it's later found out that she didn't bring it as a hypothetical. She brought it up as people that didn't exist. The man allegedly.
That's hypothetical.
The man alleged. Well, no, but in her original suit, she didn't. That's like, for example, in Roe versus Wade. Mm-hmm. The plaintiff in Roe versus Wade said that she had been raped, when in reality you found out later that she wasn't.
Okay,
right?
Okay.
So the thing is that once these cases are brought up and they're heard on the merits, if you find out at one point that whatever parties or whatever
some element
of it was not the way you alleged, I mean, that's not correct. But the court is ruling on the merits insofar as to the legality or constitutionality of
the situation,
that case in particular. Okay. So in the case regarding that you're talking about, yes, that came out, the decision came out earlier this week about the web design. So basically, the plaintiff, the person who was suing, the designer, she said that she was a web designer, that she designed web pages, and that there was this gay couple that she had,
Stuart and Mike.
I believe that she had worked for them before. She had done work with them before, which is very similar to the wedding cake case. Mm-hmm. But that while she won't discriminate against them in terms of their sexual orientation, she did not want to build a webpage for them that had to do with their wedding, because that goes against her religious beliefs.
So if they wanted to create a website for a restaurant,
yes,
she's down.
Yes,
but not
according to her. That's fine.
Okay.
Right. So that's very similar again to the case some years back about the baker. Although that one didn't get to the Supreme Court. About the baker, that the couple in particular wanted a wedding cake for a same-sex marriage. That couple had been customers of that baker for other events, for other social or special events, and they had done the cake. But he specifically did not want to do a cake for a wedding because he doesn't believe in that. So the case, the one about now, the constitutionality or the constitutional question about it was a First Amendment issue. You have a First Amendment of not associate with whoever you don't want to associate, and you also have a First Amendment right to not say anything at all, or not do something, or not say something. And it was based on that, on First Amendment. It was a free speech issue, more than a religious one. Because an argument can be made, especially recently, that a lot of people are hiding behind freedom of religion to discriminate.
Correct.
Well, I'm not going to do this because it's my religion. I'm not going to do that because it's my religion. I mean, I'm trying to explain this in the most unbiased way possible.
Right.
Because obviously I don't agree with that ruling.
Right.
So I'm trying to do it in the most unbiased way possible. But that's basically what the majority opinion stated. This was a First Amendment issue, a freedom of speech issue. And her speech was that she did not want to design that.
Right.
Because that is a form of expression.
Okay.
That was hard to do.
I think you may need a water break or something. I think you may actually drink whiskey right now after doing that.
Right. That is hard to do. But anyway, in terms of
I just feel like
the ramifications it has
Mm-hmm.
legally, which this was, I believe it was Sotomayor
Yes.
who said this in her dissent, is that the problem is that now you are, because the thing is that with these Supreme Court cases, especially with how politicized the Supreme Court has become recently, people use these cases now on both sides, on both ends, but particularly more on the conservative side as a like gotcha moment, like, ha, now I could do this.
right. It becomes precedent.
Right, because remember, and this is what I tell, what sometimes it's hard to do. You can do something as an individual, as a government, as a lawmaker that's unconstitutional. You could pass a bill that's unconstitutional. That bill is going to be law until it's
Challenged.
it's challenged by a court.
Right.
So sometimes it could be years. Right?
Right.
A lot of these cases, by the time you start reading the fact pattern, this was years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't get to the Supreme Court 6 months after it happens. Right.
Very,
right.
very few times does something get to the Supreme Court quickly. Usually it goes through the lower courts first. There's a whole system and all that, and that could take years. So, that's why it's so important. The timing is something you have to look at. So a lot of times these things can happen, right? And it's the law of the land, if you will, until it's challenged by a court. By a higher court, whether it be a federal court, a state court, or eventually, usually what has bearing is a federal court
Right.
or a Supreme Court, right? So now with this new law that passed, with this new ruling, you can have different, because what happened was that a lot of different communities or a lot of different states, even on a county level, had ordinances that you cannot discriminate based on sexual orientation.
Correct. Because
Right?
there's nothing national.
Right. But yes and no, because, for example, the ruling that came out a couple of years ago, which we talked about here, it is now federal. It's a federal standard based on the Supreme Court that you can't discriminate on sexual orientation in terms of employment.
Okay.
Right, you can't fire somebody because they're gay. Whereas before there wasn't a Supreme Court case that said that, right? But there's a lot of different laws and different ordinances that are throughout the country that states that you can't discriminate based on sexual orientation, and not doing a cake, not doing a webpage may be seen as discrimination, right? But with this ruling, it says, no, you can, because this is a form of expression which is covered by the First Amendment. So what's going to happen now? Now you're going to see people left and right. Oh, no, I'm not doing that because I don't believe in that. I'm choosing not to, and it could be very specific things like something with a wedding, right? Because you could always make an argument. Again, I'm trying to be unbiased as possible. You could always make an argument that, yes, if you are a Christian person, if you have your beliefs, you don't believe in same-sex marriage, especially, in terms of the eyes of God or whatever it is that you believe in. But now this sort of opens the door, because now here's the thing. So this was for a same-sex wedding.
Bring on interracial.
No. I'm not even going to go there. So what about if you're a photographer and two dads come in with their kids and want to take a picture, wants you to photograph their family? So that's not a wedding. It's not a union that you don't agree with. It's two men that have a kid.
I mean, it still falls under the same bullshit heading. But.
Right, but now you've extended it a little bit too, because are you going to say now, well, I don't believe in same-sex parenting? Right, because you can make, usually when there have been arguments about this, it's been because of a wedding, because your religion doesn't believe in it.
But if your religion doesn't believe in that, they don't believe in. I mean, it's a blanket belief.
Right, but again, where does it start and where does it end? That's why these decisions open up the floodgates.
See, I'm not even thinking in that.
To problems like that.
Yeah,
the reason why...
I'm thinking in terms of even something as simple as like, you know what? I'm not going to do it for this... for oh my God.
Interracial?
For a bar mitzvah. Because my religion believes that you're... I'm just saying.
I don't go there yet, because I think that right now...
The door's been open.
Right now, with the people that defend this... Right now, what's on the table is LGBT issues.
Give it time.
Right. No, absolutely. But for right now, it's LGBT issues. So now it's like this is a hot topic, right?
Right.
So now it's going to be a situation of like, okay, so I won't do it. What about if it's a kid's birthday party that has two dads, and the two dads come in?
Right.
So you see now how like this one, if we're going simply by that, those
let's stay on
facts
theme.
in particular, right? On the theme. Let's stay on the
Same-sex.
same-sex debacle. So now we're not talking only a wedding. Now we're talking about like, what about if it's your anniversary? What about if it's a kid's, birthday? What about if it's we're not even talking about like a pride party or anything, like a kid's party. Like, what about if you're a photographer and you want a picture of your family?
Right.
What about if you're a caterer
True.
and I want you to cater, our anniversary with my husband, or if I want to cater your my kids,
Right.
that are of a same-sex couple, right? So on and on and on, and we live right now in a climate where you're going to see those things come up.
Oh.
For sure.
The decision was on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, there was.
I know you're thinking about like interracial marriage and all that stuff, and that could be on the horizon. But for right now, those are the things that people are going to be like, "Oh, it's my First Amendment. It's my First Amendment right,
my constitutional
right, not to do your cake, not to do your photography." I mean, yeah, that's where.
Look, the reality of it is, I realize that if it was up to me, we they'd never make any strides in equality. But you know what? I'm of the mind where it's like, bitch, you don't want to make my cake? Fine, fuck it. I'll take my business elsewhere. Like, I don't have time for this. I've got a cake to make.
I'm not that person.
I've got a cake to get.
No,
I've got a party to plan. I don't have time for your bullshit right now.
No. If that was me on that end, I'd be like, yeah, no.
And trust me,
Melissa Mary, you're going down.
And trust me, nowadays there are plenty of allies who wear their allyship on their sleeve, and you can find it.
Right. I realize that is probably the more convenient way to go.
Because I don't got time to put up with your
right.
Your
Ain't nobody got
ignorant ass.
time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for your ignorant ass. Yeah.
I realize that would be, but I would be the one to be like, no.
You're like, with that said,
I'm gonna sue your motherfucking ass.
Maybe after the fact, but in the moment, I just need to go find another cake. I just need to get
especially
shit
if they
done.
make really good cake. You know that I'm still on the search for a good piece of cake, listeners. I can't find a good piece of cake. I can't. I've found some good cakes,
Right.
but
what is it that you're looking for?
I've had what I'm
let's
looking
help
for.
our listeners
Okay,
help
so-
you.
So here we go, talking about Michigan. So back when I lived in Michigan, I used to
Unless you're driving drink.
I used to go to Mackinac Island a lot, and if you haven't looked up
I
Mackinac
love
Island,
Mackinac.
look it up. It's amazing. It's a piece of heaven on earth.
It is.
On the between the upper and lower peninsula of Michigan. Anyway, there was this bakery there that had. I remember when I had it for the first time, I was like, when I have something really good, you've seen this. I have to like. I take a minute.
You almost remove yourself.
Yes, I have. I literally.
I don't even mean from the. You remove yourself from the plane of existence.
Yeah, I have to like. I take a moment.
Yeah.
I don't shed a tear, but it's kind of like almost.
La
So I'm
gana no faltan.
this is so good. So it was, and I had it several times, and to me that was like the perfect piece of cake. It is a moist
Okay.
chocolate cake, a moist chocolate cake with a vanilla buttercream, and I like my buttercream to be sugary, like
Okay.
garraposo.
Okay. Have that little grit.
Yes. I had that several times in the bakery in Mackinac. So that bakery eventually closed.
Oh, that's right.
So I moved away from
right.
Michigan. It closed.
Claro, you left. How are they going to sustain?
I wrote to like the
You told
chamber.
me. You did.
I wrote to like the equivalent of the Chamber of Commerce of Mackinac. I'm like, listen, there's only like 10 stores there. Like,
You got to know what I'm talking
do
about.
you remember this bakery? And I have even have pictures of it. Like where I know where it was located. I mean, that island is this big.
Yeah.
It was here,
We-
there,
we-
there,
we
there.
biked around the entire thing.
Dude, I mean, I'm sure those people, even if they closed the storefront, like still have bake.
Maybe they have an Instagram.
Right,
But,
right.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we don't have any information on them. And I'm like, no. So ever since then,
You haven't been able to find anything about them?
I haven't. I've been trying to find the perfect piece of cake.
Okay,
And-
wait.
and-
Hold on,
and
hold on.
the-
Do you know the name of the place?
No, I don't know the name.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say it here so maybe somebody's
no.
listening.
So I have pictures of the cake, the subject cake. I've been trying to find the perfect cake. Now, I really like the OGs here in Miami, Lucila and Eda. I do. That's the type of buttercream I like. That's like grainy, like that they have. But I usually have theirs. It's like the vanilla rum cake. But I think that most cake is not good. I think it's okay.
Again, it's like pizza, right?
Yeah.
Cake is cake. You're not going to turn it down.
Yeah,
You're not
I don't get
gonna-
excited for cake anymore because you'll go to a wedding or go to this event and it's like, look at this beautiful cake baked by so and so, and then you have the cake and I'm like, meh.
Yeah.
And if it's we're talking about cake on Pero, let me tell you,
Why not?
we were talking about Supreme Court decisions and now we're talking about cake. And if it's fondant,
Fondant is pretty, but that's it.
that's it. Yeah,
That's it.
it's pretty, but it has no substance.
I can't eat pretty.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like an Instagram
And
model.
you know my problem also with like, especially this happens a lot with wedding cakes. With cakes, I mean, I've thought about this. Like, this is something.
Oh, no,
'cause
clearly.
you know, what I feel for cakes. Like, I have a love affair with cakes. I don't apologize.
There's worse things to have love affairs with.
I don't apologize. I'm obsessed with the cake. This is why my cake for my birthday has become a thing here on Pero.
This is also very true.
A lot of times, like wedding cakes or like these really intricate, even birthday cakes, they're a lot of times not good because those cakes take days to decorate.
Right.
So the panetela, by the time you have it, is like 4 days old.
Yeah.
Or it was previously frozen and all
Yeah, it
that.
has to be preserved.
And all that. There was a place here in Miami called Sweetness Bakery that they were really, really good. And they actually closed. And they were around for a while. But I can't find the perfect cake. Now, listeners, if any of you out there are bakers and you wanna send us cake and you want us to have your cake live here on Pero, let me tell you, I think you and I will be down for a little free promotion.
Yes, we should have a cake off.
I
Okay.
just lit up like the 4th of July.
You lit up, you swallowed, you froze for a moment, your eyes glazed over in ecstasy. Like, it was a moment what just happened right now. Like, wow. I am glad we record this and I hope you use this on Instagram because it was a moment what just happened right now. You're about to start crying. Like,
I just thought about the possibilities that people send us cake. Lots and lots of cake. That's all I want in this world is a good piece of cake.
we're going to be so overweight.
And do it now because I'm joining. I'm doing
That's
my
true.
powerlifting regimen
That's
soon.
true.
Do it now.
He just
Do it-
joined the gym.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to make this happen.
Or so we don't feel too guilty about it, we have it be closer to the holidays because during the holidays all diets go out the window. So that way,
Why do we have to wait 5-6 months?
listen? No, oh sorry. When I say holidays, I meant like Halloween. I'm like starting like to me, yeah. By October, yeah, we're in the holidays. Yeah, like my lata, the candy,
Okay, we
and all
need to
that.
do a cake off on Pero, let me tell you.
Okay, we need to figure out the details of this.
Okay, we need to do a cake
We need
off.
to do this, yeah.
Because like I just got a visual. Like
I feel like we've just created an event that we're going to be hosting, and
yeah,
I don't know how
and,
this is.
And honestly, free advertisement. We're not going to charge for this. We will profile your bakery.
We will profile your bakery. We will eat it as we record. We will mention you.
That's all I want. Is
Listen,
good
we're
cake.
fat asses.
Oh.
We're happy.
For my birthday. Since my birthday cake has become a thing
Okay.
with our listeners.
All right, listeners, you have and then October. So
Yes.
that okay. We'll lock in a date. Yes. So start thinking.
So again,
Listeners,
my favorite
start
cake,
thinking.
I'm very simple. A moist, delicious chocolate cake with a delicious, grainy vanilla buttercream.
See, now I'm thinking if this should be like a live recording that we coordinate somewhere
I don't know.
and have everybody bring their cake so that we can basically like taste it while we're recording.
Listen, we gotta use the power of Pero, let me tell you.
And then we reward the best cake with like some free t-shirts.
Do you like cake as much as I do, or am I on solo here?
Do you not see the fat assery that is sitting in front
Well,
of you?
I don't know.
You know I love me some cake.
Maybe you're more into pies.
No.
You don't look like a pie guy.
No. I love a key lime pie, but that's about it. That's where it begins and ends.
You don't like a good strawberry rhubarb pie?
Compared to cake,
An apple pie, a fresh baked
I'm
apple pie
more a cake person.
with honey crisp apples.
I'm more a cake person. Give me layers.
Yeah. No. I'm there with you.
Give me layers.
I'm there with you.
Give me layers, and you know what? Feel free to have the cream in the middle layer be different than the top layer, or put some crap on top of it. Like you know what? Go nuts.
Yeah.
I will say though, I'm not a huge fan of cakes that have like fruit in them
Oh no.
because that's too reminiscent of like un brazo gitano.
No. That pineapple.
Yeah, no.
I
I'll
don't
eat
really,
it.
I don't really like filling other than buttercream.
But you know, sometimes
Or if it's like a chocolate mousse or something
or like a
that.
jelly, you know, type of thing. Again, but depends on the flavor of the overall cake that we're talking about. But yes,
I remember that one time. So anybody that knows me personally, you can have the filet mignon, you can have the lobster, you can have whatever. I'm not a big meat person. I am, however, about sweets. Like I really can't. I always say this playing around. The donut will always win.
well, that's why I can't lose weight as like more than a certain point.
The
because
donut
it's just
will
not,
always win.
It's a non-negotiable.
When I see, it doesn't matter how strict I'm being or how disciplined
Yeah.
I'm being with a diet. If somebody comes in with a box of donuts, I can't. It is physically impossible for me
Yeah.
to say no.
yeah,
And the problem is, I can't have one. like,
right. Well, that's the thing.
like, I can't have one.
See, that's the beauty, actually, kind of like cake, because
So-
sometimes you can just have one.
So the
slice.
sweets will always win.
Yeah, they will.
Some years ago, I was in Austria with my parents in Vienna.
Oh yes,
And this is a story that in my mind now, it's like I was fucking at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
you've mythologized it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went into this like beautiful, beautiful bakery. And I remember that they had, and you know this story is true because I'm going to parallel with a story that you were there at.
Okay.
So they had all these like beautiful like pastries and these cakes, and they had like house made ice cream. Then they had a part of like high end like chocolates. I remember they had a milk chocolate fountain that it was Lindt, that brand.
That's-
Lindt. They had like chocolate covered strawberries. They had like mousse cups. They had, it looked like something not out of a movie, out of a dream. And I remember I went in there with my mother and I was like,
You had the fruit cup, didn't you?
I don't know what to do. Like, I can't, it started getting a little blurry. Like it started getting a little blurry. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do?
have it all.
In that particular case, because I was with my parents and they both wanted to eat. We ordered like several things, so I got to try it.
Okay,
Right.
good.
But you know this is true because some years ago, this is an infamous story among our friends. We were at Next in here in
Lincoln Road.
in Lincoln Road in Miami Beach, and for those of you who are local, you will remember that Next had the same menu as the Cheesecake Factory. They actually got sued by the Cheesecake Factory, but they had an even greater bakery because they didn't only have cheesecakes.
Yeah, they had
but they
like
had like
desserts.
full blown
Yeah.
bakery
Like
and
tarts
these
and-
and these delicious cakes and all
Same.
that. And I go into the bakery and I was so overwhelmed I couldn't make a decision that I just ordered a cup of fruit.
He ordered the fruit cup.
I did because I was like, I don't know, like I can't pick the 7-layer chocolate cake over the vanilla mousse. Like
Listen.
I can't over the house-made tiramisu over do you know what I freaking love? Shit, I forgot the name of it. It's Italian. Panna cotta. Panna cotta.
I don't like panna cotta.
Oh my god! You give me a good panna cotta, and I
don't.
I
I don't. It's too gelatinous. I don't care for it.
It's freaking Italian flan.
But it's I don't care for it.
Oh my god!
I'll eat it, but I don't care for it.
I'm fucking starved. Mascarpone cheese. Have you had mascarpone cheese on its own?
And it's so good.
I've bought it for cooking, and I've had to go buy another one because I'm
can't with you.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a delicious, rich, creamy mascarpone, shallot sauce. But then when I open up the jar, I'm like, oh my god, this is so good.
This is not making it to the pan.
Oh my god, this is so
No.
good. And I'm like, damn it, now I've eaten half of it. I need more.
You need to balance yourself.
I can't. The donut will always win.
I know the donut.
How
will
can
always
that
win.
have so much power over me?
It's because it doesn't have the hole in the middle.
Whoa.
Just pulls you in.
Damn.
Sprinkles? Check. Hot fudge? Check. Ooh, cherries? Check. Chocolate and vanilla ice cream? Check, check.
Chico, what list are you making?
That's everything I need to celebrate National Ice Cream Month.
Verdad, que July is when we celebrate all the yummy, cold dairy goodness that is ice cream.
Yeah. And I'm planning on making tremendo sundae using ice cream made from real Florida milk.
Don't forget, we can also use ice cream to make milkshakes too. Even make a piña colada shake. Put some coconut ice cream in there and...
Ooh, que rico. Okay. Well, if you want to find other fun recipes for enjoying ice cream this July, just head to floridamilk.com or lechedeflorida.com today.
Okay, but here's the real question. Are you gonna share that sundae?
Maybe.
Damn, so I'm thirsty. So
All right.
last soda time.
All right. Do you want to go first?
I am gonna go first. So I actually want to give my last soda to a little shout out to a documentary I saw this week, which was absolutely great, which was the documentary on Netflix of Wham.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch that.
Have you seen it?
No,
it's
not
so
yet.
good. It's really, really good. So, for those listeners who don't know, so Wham was a pop group in the early to mid '80s, and they sing "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go" and "Last Christmas" and "Careless Whisper," which obviously if you know Wham, you know George Michael. But what I really liked about the documentary was that I imagine this documentary was in production before George Michael died because, it is properly narrated by both of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
it's not... I originally thought... obviously, Andrew Ridgely is the only one doing promotion for it. I thought that it was like... The documentary was built around him in terms of narration.
Right. Because
but no, they both narrated it. And what I liked was that the narration, the confessionals wasn't... You didn't see him talking. It was just voiceover.
Oh, okay.
Over footage. Over the footage. But it was very well done. And what I liked about it is that it stuck to Wham. It did not venture off. Obviously, it did talk about certain things of George Michael, like when he first came out to him, when he was they were 19.
Right, but it was about their relationship.
And about his songwriting process. Because when Wham started, it was Andrew Ridgely who wanted to do Wham. George Michael didn't want to do it. And Andrew Ridgely was the leader. And Andrew Ridgely actually was one of the ones who co-wrote Careless Whisper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but then they wanted that for their first album, and then they kind of laughed it off. And then it wasn't until they did their second album that they now had a little bit more cred, that then George Michael kind of reworked the song. It's great. It talks about their history, and it's about them. But just, it was really interesting to see the dynamic about them. And it's just great because it's really nostalgic. It really goes deep into their catalog and to their music. And, what I really enjoyed was that I think that if you know George Michael's music, it's no secret. He had a lot of problems with fame, because he wasn't taken seriously and he was such a serious songwriter. And that really, it also touches on that. So it's a great documentary. And for anybody who enjoys that type of thing, it's just the Wham documentary on Netflix.
All right, cool. Ridgely's still married to one of the girls from Bananarama, right?
I don't know that.
Oh, okay. I think they still are.
Yeah.
So there you go. Wham.
Do you know they were the first Western act to play in China?
I did not.
And it's funny, I knew that without knowing that because growing up, my brother was obsessed with Wham and George Michael. So pretty much my entire childhood was Wham. It really was. And I remember that the song, "I Don't Want Your Freedom," the video is footage of them in China. And I remember thinking, why is this video in China?
Makes so much sense.
Yeah, I'm why is this video in China?
And I just never.
And it was because they did a tour of China, and they were the first Western act to play in China.
Huh. Mira pa allá.
Yeah.
Did not know that. Well, my last soda is going to an Instagram account that it just makes me happy, and so I'm going to go with it. And I know you've been following this account as well. Magic with Thomas.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Magic with Thomas is THOMAS. And it follows this this very nonverbal 15, I think he's 15-year-old on the spectrum, and he loves going to Disneyland. And so, his father films, whenever they go to Disneyland, him with all of the characters. And, what I love about it is just it's you can see the joy on his face when he encounters these characters, but also watching the characters interact with him. For lack of a better way of putting it, on his level, right? Like,
that they take the time to like really
Yes.
make him feel special. And,
yeah.
and,
like,
and-
well, you know, my favorite's the Evil Queen.
Well,
Him and
I'm,
Evil
I'm
Queen.
waiting for you to get done so I can talk about
Him and the
Queen.
Evil Queen, it's like there should be like a sitcom. Like, I mean, it's great, but you know, like she, you know, when he goes and he you know, he holds her hand, you can hear her saying like, you know, oh yes, the gloves, they're very soft, aren't they? You know, they're very engaging.
They're very engaging and attentive to like his sensory needs.
to his sensory needs, and they make him feel like a friggin' celebrity, because at this point they all know him.
Yeah.
I mean, certain characters know him, and like the Evil Queen's the best, because when they're walking around and she'll just be like, you know, out of the way, peasants, Thomas is
here.
walking.
And I love when the
You
Evil
know?
Queen says, Thomas, put your chin up so you could look down at everyone.
Yeah, like they engage with him. It's beautiful.
Listeners,
It's beautiful. So check it out.
Ish had told me about that account some time ago, and I started looking up the account, and I fell down that rabbit hole. And I was looking through the account for a long time, and I really invite you guys, as he said, to do it. It's just a really feel-good account. The Evil Queen is in whoever plays that cast member who plays Evil Queen. She
Sarah
is
Camille.
freaking incredible.
Yeah.
Because I love that she stays on character.
Right.
But she's very tender with him, yet on character, which is weird.
It's wonderful.
it's
Like, she's my favorite, and so is Gaston, because Gaston, like, you know, pretends that he's like with him and we're manly men together, right, Thomas? You know, and it's like, but they're so.
I love
it's
I love
wonderful.
the scenes that they record when the Evil Queen, when like there's Snow White is there.
Oh.
You know, a cast
And
member
she's like,
playing
"Ugh."
Snow White. And she's like, oh, she's still there.
Like, Thomas, ignore her.
Yeah, but she's great. The Evil Queen is great. That's why it's always so good to be bad.
It really is. It really, truly is.
Anyway, everybody, that's our show for today. We hope you listen, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Cuídense, mi gente. Bye.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.